So if we wake up to what's already present, because spiritual powers, something greater, is everywhere, around us and through us, always. But for some reason, this beautiful spirit of ours gets into this physical body and goes to sleep. Paul, in his letter to the Romans in the Bible, says, now is high time. I mean, this was how many thousands of years ago? Okay. Now is high time to wake out of sleep. Now is the time to wake out of sleep. For now, our salvation is nearer than when we believed. So Ernest Holmes describes the way of salvation as our unity with God. That's the way of salvation. When we really recognize our oneness and our unity with this infinite spirit that resides in everyone in a unique and individual way, but when we realize that, when we recognize it, when we wake up to that fact, then that, whatever it is to be saved, but we will be open and realize, wow, it's already here. Now, a little bit later, my boyfriend Rumi, the 13th century Sufi mystic, said, the door between the two worlds, the spiritual world, the physical world, the doorway, that threshold we talk about so often, is wide and open. Don't go back to sleep. Just don't go back to sleep. I mean, he really pushed that. Don't go back to sleep. Keep that available. I told you, however you entered into this new year, however, whatever, if you're feeling funky, terrific, feeling good or not so good, it doesn't matter, really. Because if we wake up and realize we have the power to change, we have the power to make things different and better at every single moment. Ernest Holmes said, every day is a new beginning. Every moment is fresh and new and something available to us. But we have to wake up enough to understand it and claim it and use it in the right way. And there's one thing I really, really, really invite you to do this year. It's so important. Be gentler on yourself. If you think you can do it all or expect yourself to do it all, you don't leave room for anybody else. We need each other. I want you to be gentle on yourself. Things are tough. They can be even tougher, they can be easier, but when we're easy on ourselves, I think it was Joseph Campbell who said, the soul has two purposes: to hold on to wonder and surprise, knowing there's always something more, wonder and surprise. I wonder what's new, what's coming. I wonder, and to let go and let it be. He said we have to let go. He actually said get rid of, but I'll just say we have to let go of the life we planned to be open and available for the life that's waiting for us. How many of you are living the life you plan to live? I don't think too many of us are, because life changes and turns and gives us new opportunities. So waking up is waking up to something more, waking up to the knowing there's always something more, wanting, because we live in this process. Our whole life, the whole world, the whole universe, everything is in this spiral process of evolution, and we're part of that. So there's always something more we can grow into and become. And it's that urge in us, it's within us, we can feel it. All true spiritual leaders have taught about waking up, all of them. We spent, oh my gosh, it was November and a little bit of December last year in 2021, talking about Julian of Norwich, the middle-aged mystic, English mystic, who lived through the pandemic her entire life, the Black Plague. She lived through a pandemic, and she said, continually, we have to wake up to the inherent goodness of life. She lived in a little tiny room all by herself. She was an anchoress. She lived in isolation. She did spiritual counseling from a couple of windows out onto a busy street a few hours a day. But she knew that life was inherently good because she'd made that spiritual connection that she knew wherever she went, no matter what was going on, God, goodness, love was there. She knew it. Hildegard of Bingen, another German mystic, a little earlier than Julian, said life is all about waking up. Matthew Fox calls her the first eco-warrior because she said we have to wake up to the abundance and the beauty of nature. The song that, where's Gretchen and Elliot? They were singing in the beginning, and Kirk, that's the song. The beauty, if we ever question the goodness of life, we just need to look at nature. And then in 6000 BC, Buddha, the awakened one, had reached enlightenment. And all he said is to everyone, be a light unto yourself. Wake up, turn on that light within so you can see that goodness is at hand. You may not feel it in the moment, and that's okay, because this life, that threshold that I talked about, can be between the spiritual world and the physical world, or it can be in our own life right now between the goodness that we know is here or at hand or we've had, whatever, and the problems and the difficulties that we're holding. It's about holding the two things. We need to learn to be able to mingle the light and the dark, the positive and the negative, if we're going to be truly awakened, because it's in that place that we can experience spirit, life, goodness in the greatest sense, Jesus said, and I want you to see how where you relate to this. He said, the kingdom of God. He said it was within us. He said it's at hand, it's within us. Don't you think that might be an invitation for us to wake up, to receive it, and then to live it, to be it? It was an invitation for us all to do that. Now, Joseph Campbell, if we go into more contemporary times, he was a 20th century, he was a comparative he studied comparative mythology. He was a professor of literature, and he studied peoples and cultures all over the world. And he came up with the knowing that there's one common theme for all of us everywhere, and that's the hero's journey. And the hero's journey begins with that call, that knowing inside that there's something more. There's a life waiting for us to live, to step into. Now, we have the power not to listen to that call. But he said when we don't listen to the call, it's like hell, and life is drying up. Because we're born to continue to go. And the call, the journey we're called into, isn't necessarily an easy one. There's pitfalls, there's ups and downs, but there's guides and angels and goodness and spirit that's guiding us all the way. But we have to answer that call. He said, you receive the call to cross the threshold to a new life. Now, if you haven't noticed, stepping into a new life takes courage. But you know, there's hidden courage in all of us. Right there, it's there. It comes out usually in the most difficult times. The times where we don't think we have what it takes, guess what? We do. If you just think about, I think about looking at, in 2001, all that happened and the way people just showed up. They didn't need to know the people, but showed up for the good, the common good of all, to make things better. That same courage is in us. I know you've tapped into it. You've done things you never thought you could do when somebody needed you or called you. And that's a courage we need to tap into to create this new life. We don't know what's going to happen the rest of 2022, but I'll tell you what. Some of us may be saying, look for the good in the new year with all this crud that's happening right now. How can that happen? I want something more right now. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Some people are saying that, and some people are saying, whoa, how do I get out of this mess? If you're asking those questions, your mind is in the lower energy, and we need to lift it up. We need to lift up and be starting to ask the spiritual questions that are going to be giving us the good answers that'll make us the new person that can say in the midst of what's ever going on, life is good. Do you know how much courage it takes to face a really difficult situation and say life is good? It takes faith and it takes courage, which are all in us right now. Are you ready? Are you ready to have more faith and courage? Are you ready to have more love and understanding? Here's what I want you to say. I am ready. Are you ready to have more faith and courage? Are you ready to have more love and understanding? And are you ready to get education or help if you need it and can't find it on your own? See, I knew it. That's why I love you guys, because we're all ready together. We're ready to do the work. We're ready to find the courage and the faith and the understanding of what we're to hold on to, the surprise and the wonder, and what we're to let go of. What we're to say, you know, I'm going to put that in the hands of God, on the altar of God. I'm going to give it up to the higher sources, because it's not mine anymore to do. I want you to think about that in your own life. It could be a situation, it could be a habit, it could be something that you're ready to give up to make room for something new in your life right now. We've got to be ready to do that, to find more faith, more courage. You know, John O'Donohue talks about the easiest way to find new courage, a newness in your life. It's the call to beauty. He said, when we start looking for things that are beautiful, instead of looking for the things that are wrong and the problems in the world, when we start looking for things that are beautiful, we're going to find a newness and a courage to step into something more. We're born creators. That's what we do. You ask a poet if they've given up on life and newness. There's no way. You ask a songwriter, songs that give us encouragement and hope and break us open, if they've given up, if they're looking at the downside, the negative side of life, or if they're looking at something more, I'll tell you what, they're looking at the moreness. You ask a scientist, a creator, an artist, they're breaking out and letting that gift that's theirs come out from within. That's the truth. I know it. Joseph Campbell said, we are really living for the experience of life, both the pain and the pleasure, for all of it. Wow, what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing to know. Oftentimes, as I said, it's in the difficulty, it's in the problem that newness arrives. I know that so much has been birthed from me out of the most difficult times of my life. And if we can, we're all storytellers. We tell the story of our life. We're the authors and the narrators. We're all looking at life with our own unique view. And we tell the story. And we tell it oftentimes from the eyes, our human eyes, instead of reimagining the bigger picture. How often have you criticized someone or something, only to find out you are missing a valuable piece of the story? Has anybody else ever done that? Wow. You go, wake up, there's more to this story. That's my motto pretty much anymore, because I've done that so many times, to say, oh, this is bad, or this is wrong, or how could somebody act that way? And then you learn. There's way more to the story. Well, there's more to our story too. You and I have to look at our story from God's eyes, from love's eyes. Every single human and every single creature is made for love. But to you and I, that's what I said in the beginning, if we could just be easier on ourselves. Love ourselves for the mistakes we've made and the learning we've had, and love ourselves for the things we've accomplished and done. And then love ourselves what's yet to be, something new we haven't even done yet. It's waiting for us. Are you ready? Yeah. No. I gave you the 3 words. We'll try it again. I am ready. That's the answer. That's just the answer. I'm ready. I'm ready for it all. Whatever it is, there are tools and spiritual powers in us that we aren't even aware of yet. Where did, there was a great, must have been from the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell said, look you guys, come on. You're in sleepy land. Wake up. There is a whole aspect of your consciousness, a whole aspect of your consciousness, of your God-given gifts, your being that has not even been touched. So that discomfort, that unease in you is just wanting you to wake up to something more. Doesn't mean, at times, yes, it's about accomplishing, but remember, it's the experience. Who do I want to be? So the spiritual questions now for us to start this year is, what are the qualities of God, of goodness, that I want to express this year? How can I be a light in this world this year, wherever I am, whether I'm alone, in person, on the phone, on email, on the web, on text, on all those social media things I don't do. But how can I be the best I can be to be that light in the world, to share whatever quality it is, if it's kindness, goodness, prosperity, joy, whatever it is. How can I be more of that and share that? And there's another part of that. It's just about, not about doing and being, but I said before, where is it I need to learn more? Kirk mentioned the class that Reverend Janet is doing at the beginning of the year, Spiritual Practices. It is an accredited class. If you want to go on and be a practitioner, that's wonderful. It's also a class just for everyday knowledge and living. Where do you need to talk to someone else? Because we get wound up in our own stories. And if we're going to make a new story, oftentimes we've got to go to a practitioner, a spiritual coach, a class. We need to do something that someone else, remember, we need each other. We're not meant to do it all. So ask yourself, as you step out into this new year, as the doors are open, that doorway, we're doing our spiritual practices, the answers, we got to ask the spiritual questions, but then know the answer comes in that deep meditation. Whether you're meditating in silence, in yoga, whether you're meditating in nature, whether you're out walking on the beach, whether you're in the mountain, whatever you're doing, it's that deep connection to God that's going to give you the answers. There are so many choices. There are so many paths. The path is the right one for you if you've been guided by Spirit to do that. God's there. We heard that. Just say hello. Just say hello. And listen for the answer. Do your part and wait for Spirit. So I want you to just close your eyes in this moment with me. Just unwrap yourself, open yourself. Remember, we are focusing on faith and courage. It's already in us. Just opening the space to make it be revealed and opened and expressed in a new way. We're ready right now to say good morning, God morning, to a newness in our life that we're opening to in so many wonderful ways. We just need to open. We don't need to know how or what or who or where, but be available and present, awake and aware. When we say, I am ready, we say, I am ready to be awake, aware, to be alive in this day and alive in Spirit. If there's questions or problems, I know the answer resides within me, either connecting me to the right person and place, or to let that answer be revealed in, through, and as me right here and right now. And as we open up, we open to wonder and surprise and in gratitude for the life we've been given, in gratitude for the Spirit that resides within us, and the ability we have to go out and share our light, our goodness, our love in so many amazing, unique, and special ways. Breathe in, knowing everything we need is already at hand right now. So my question is, are you ready to have an amazing 2022? Perfect. Are you ready to be kinder, better, and the new version of yourself? Are you ready to reimagine the story of your life if it needs a little tweaking and revision in places? Thank you, because I'm ready too. And I'm ready to be together and know that together we are stronger than the sum of our parts. And together we have a light to bring to this world, a love and a kindness that comes from within. And we can do this together. I just say thank you for being open to a new morning, a new day, a new way of being together in this world, to make a better place, a better space for all. And so it is. Love you all. Thank you.